So what a great podcast this is. Joining me, Dr. Joe and Simon Shin and Jodie Walley from Olive Branch Enterprise. Thanks for joining us, guys.
You're welcome.
Can you please just give us a little bit of information about Olive Branch Enterprise?
So Olive Branch is a 100% Aboriginal owned organisation and business, mainly based in the Goldfield region through the Champion family. The Champion family are members of the Millennium Claim Group, which generally looks after about 89,000 kilometres squared worth of land. In calculation, there's over about 300 active mining companies in our region. So with that in mind, Olive Branch's aim is to commercialise and give benefits on an equity value point of view for the traditional owners to give value to the community. And we based it off on the three factors of success, which is the educational pathways, the employment pathways, and the entrepreneurial pathways for the family members. And this is to create self-sufficiency within the community, self-sufficiency within the family as well. And also bring recognition to create a platform where other Indigenous businesses, not just nationally but globally, can replicate the model that we aim to strive for within the next 3 to 5 years.
That's excellent. How did you get started with Olive Branch Enterprise, Simon?
It was in 2017, 2018, where before I actually got involved with the family, or even before I got adopted into the family, I was in the health and fitness industry, and I was developing a program called Purpose for Life Health Clubs, being a very huge ambassador for mental health awareness and being in the health and fitness industry. I've come from the both spectrums of the industry, so in terms of the physical health and really looking after your health and fitness goals versus your mental health goals as well. So I was at the Mental Institute for many, many months, being a suicide survivor. And then obviously being a gym owner to a trainer, through the ranks, I realized there was gaps in both industries. So I created a program called Purpose for Life Health Clubs, and I, to cut a long story short, developed this program, and I wanted to present it to an elder. And at that time, my now wife, she was at Notre Dame University in Fremantle, and she was doing something called mental health awareness, or within the rural communities of Australia, and she so happened to get Kalgoorlie, which was cliche because I was having to go to Kalgoorlie in about 3-4 months to present a program to one of the elders. Her name is Auntie Fiona Champion, and I presented a program to her, and she says, "Stop, just come to Kalgoorlie and present this to my whole family." So I went over to 189 Burt Street in Boulder. Burt Street, it is Burt Street. Yeah. I presented this program, and Mum and Dad, the late Pop Timothy Champion Senior and the late Mama Mary Champion, Nee Yaron, as we're presenting, stopped me, and he looked at me and said, stop presenting. I thought I was game over. I thought I did something wrong. Yeah, I was like gone, because the couch that he sits in, he was sitting at the couch, and he's just looking at me the whole time, and I was like, I'm doing something wrong, because he's giving me the side eye right now. Pointed at me, and he says, "You," and with that, like, minimal words, won't talk, just. And I was like, all right, that obviously means come sit here, but it wasn't in a very, calming nature. So I sat down, and so through his faith and through his belief in Christian belief that he has, he said, God said, "You're the one that we are to accept to lead our family through the family business and through what's going on with native title." At the time, Olive Branch's name wasn't really formed or founded yet. So yeah, that's where the journey started for myself. And after that day, I think 2 months later, I came back, and he blessed me into the family, and that's when the journey started for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Quite a story. That's,
Yep.
That gave me goosebumps, actually.
Yeah.
But
so your presentation was sort of a meld of mental health and physical health, having come from the gym industry?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, it was. And just to expand a bit on that, it was mainly based on trying to find the right language of individuals. And what I mean by that is language is not just about the dialectual conversations that you have with people. It's actually who they are and how they are. Like we could be having an awesome conversation, or you could be having an awesome conversation with Sister Jodie. There are three things that people really desire and hold close to. The three things, you'll know what it is. For me, it's obviously it's my wife, my family, and my career. And I might be depressed and really out of it, and everyone sees it differently. But then you guys three might be talking, and then all of a sudden you talk about you might talk about a happy marriage or something like that. So automatically my neuro response units within my body will adapt to that conversation, because that's the three most desired, most precious things in my life. And so I identified language in individuals of those that want to commit suicide, or those that have the thought of wanting to commit, or just don't find value or purpose in their life. So that was what the model was based on. And from that, I'm a very firm believer, and so is actually Olive Branch sees this as well. We're very firm believers of that. Someone else cannot create a perfect program for you. That perfect program has to be created and developed by yourself. So what we did in that program that I developed, Purposeful Life Health Clubs, was created a platform where people can start creating their own programs of what they desired, of how many times they want to train, or what was their actual goal. Not just weight loss, fitness, and muscle gain. It wasn't that, because that's just the facade. Your golden circle goal is, why do you want to lose that 5 kilos or 10 kilos? Is it because people call you fat? Is it because when you go to Asian gatherings, they always like, you eat so much, what are you doing? It's those traumas or those painful words that you hear. So that's the program that I developed, and legitimately, actually, we transferred that into Olive Branch Enterprise as well for the foundation.
Amazing. So did you actually say, because I've noticed you said my wife, my family, my career, in that order exactly. Was that intentional, or that's?
It's definitely intentional. Definitely intentional. Because obviously, you grow to understand life's importance and I'm not saying here that I'm wiser than anyone else. I think you do learn that, and you see what's most, you do recognize what's most important. And it does fluctuate and change at times according to the priority of what you're going through in life. But I don't want to make it, like it's a policy or it's like a process. It's just, it's what's important at the time, but you'll always see that those three are very important within your heart.
So to circle back to you, you've done the presentation, been stopped, you've been called, it's clearly struck a chord. What were the next steps on the journey from there that led from an idea, you've touched the heart, it's now putting it into practice. Where did that then lead?
Oh, I think...
In the short term, perhaps.
If I may, I'll probably throw this to Sister Jodie, because I think it would be important to really showcase what the family was thinking first.
Absolutely.
Of where the value stood, or why the family wanted to start Olive Branch.
Yeah, I think we had the idea. I think our idea was to better the Aboriginal community, because it is suffering. We all know that. But then Simon came along, and then he just brought all these ideas to us, which kind of blew our mind, and then gave us hope to actually maybe we have a chance to achieve them, to try and save some of our close family members, because we've lost so many family members through suicide, through alcoholism, through drugs. So when Simon came, it was just, he just brought us hope and inspiration,
Amazing. And the success, it speaks for itself from where it started up until now.
Absolutely. I think, people measure success very differently, and we'll probably say the same together, sis. Like, Olive Branch is it's more acknowledgement and recognition for what we've done, not in terms of the actual services that we've provided. And what I mean by that is our success isn't based on the value of the worth of our company, dollar value. It's based on the fact that Olive Branch is an exclusive member to the Australian Arab Chamber of Commerce. special members to the Wannersaland people through Auntie Elaine and Uncle Paul Maher as well, who are special account holders of the SDGIF funding group. It's obviously it's governed by the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Just for listeners, SDGIF stands for, a lot of listeners might not be familiar.
You put me on the spot on this one.
Sorry.
Social
We're so used to acronyms, don't we?
Yeah. So social development, I think it's based on the social development governing and corporate governance impact.
So it's
funding.
an internationally
internationally recognised. Hence the reason why it's based on the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So when they talk about the social development and the corporate governance impact fund, it's like a lot of the conversations that we're having is the ESG, so the environmental, social governance as well. It's because now that we're going into the direction of green use of green cars, green EVs, you name it, that direction. Olive Branch now becoming more recognised in that space with these specialised groups like the Arab Chamber of Commerce, Australian Arab Chamber of Commerce, the SDGIF, through the Wannersaland people, also with the Musyad Group, which is the largest chamber of commerce in the world through the Turkish Union,
Right.
and now getting into the Chinese Mining and Congress Expo board that we're wanting to present to, and also with the Korean communities as well. Like, it's the recognition and acknowledgement that we're starting to grow into that's been a lot more positive and a lot more successful for us, because I think what we're doing is setting up the platform that it will allow different nations or Indigenous nations to replicate what we're doing. Now, I'm not saying they have to do exactly the way we're doing it. Like I said, remember how I said that the Purposeful Life Health Clubs, we developed a program or a platform where other people can create their own programs. It's the same thing. We just want to create the foundations, but it's up to the other Indigenous nations of what's beneficial for them, what's best for them to then create their own desires for their true traditional owners.
Excellent. Look, if you don't mind, Simon, I want to go back to the first few sentences, opening sentences that you mentioned, that you're a suicide survivor yourself.
Yeah.
And I understand that can be a very sensitive topic, but I would like to explore that a little bit, if you are okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, there's a story there, definitely. Can you tell us about it, please?
The day that I try to commit, or
the
whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to share this, because it's really to reach out to those that are suffering quietly. It's interesting that, and not interesting, but it's probably the truth that suicide only occurs when you're isolated, right? That's exactly what happened to myself. Fortunately for myself, I went to a trip to Thailand. I was at the Sydney clinic in Bronte, which is because I was born and raised in Sydney. And I was, when I was growing up, so freely sharing, like, I was given away because, and by the way, if my mum and dad do see this, I love you guys a lot. They couldn't afford me, so they had to send me away a lot because I had to work. So I was at different homes, and call it foster homes, physically abused, badly. Then got raped by my two uncles. One of my grandpas from my dad's side committed suicide, and left notes to say to me that if I give my life so that you may have yours, because when I was out, he brought me back in, because family should never be apart. And so long story short, there's a lot more to it, and I don't want to take too much time on this story, but it just one day I went through a very messy breakup with my ex-fiance at the time, and I just crumbled, and everything that happened in my past, all my past traumas, just picked up on me very well, and just spiraled me down where I was at the point of suicide. So I attempted about 9 times, whether it be by hanging myself, whether it be by overdosing, whether it be by slicing, so I don't want to get too much detail with that one, but ended up in the Sydney clinic because it was just way too dangerous. I was red flagged, and one of my best friends, which I won't mention his name, but one of my best friends just said, hey, this is not you, this is definitely not you. Like, at school, even though I was bullied, even though I was going through everything, I was just that friend that just got along with everyone, whether you're in the cool group or the nerdy group, whatever you want to call it. I hang down with everyone. So he knew that my personality was very uplifting and, trying to be humble about it, very engaging. And then I just ended up in the hospital. And then he goes, hey, look, I'm going to take you to Thailand. So out of all places he wanted to take me, he took me to Batarian, Thailand. Now, if you haven't been there, like,
Party city.
Yeah, go with a better mindset.
I heard a lot about it. I actually haven't been there.
Yeah, till this point I haven't too. But I went there, and it was a really big eye-opener. And on the day that we're leaving there, I had this suicidal thought. But I was actually, it sounds very weird, but I was at peace. I was at peace knowing that I was going to kill myself. So I actually committed to myself that I was going to end my life that night. So I was going through dark times. I was on the plane, and my friend was sitting next to me. He goes, hey, Simon, when we land, man, I'm going to try the watermelon juice. I want to try the green chicken curry. And I'm like, dude, you're European. You don't like chili food. He goes, no, I just want to try green chicken curry. I want to try green chicken curry. And I was like, what? Like, out of all places, green chicken curry, and you eat pastas and things like that. Why would you eat green chicken curry? He goes, I just, want to try. So whole flight from Sydney to Thailand, 6-7 hours of green chicken curry and watermelon juice. And I was like, all right, you know what? I don't care. We're going to go there. I've already made my mind, so we're going to go. So as soon as we landed, I still remember where it was, 14th level, Pattaya Hotel. Just saying this, he probably already knows who I'm talking about right now. 14th level, Pattaya Hotel, or Pattaya Resort Hotel, is where we stayed at. And dropped off our bags. We went out to dinner, and obviously he got his green chicken curry, got his watermelon juice, and I just ate. I think I had pad thai that night. And still going through demonic thoughts, and went up to my bedroom with him. So we went up to our bedrooms to get some rest. Couldn't sleep, just tormented, and I was like just this excitement of like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. So keep in mind, again, this will probably give it away. He was a Boilermaker at the time, and so when he's on holidays because he started work at 3 a.m. So when he's on holidays, he's on holidays. So he normally doesn't wake up early on his day off anyway. So I was going through such a tough time, and it was about 2:30, I think from memory. I looked at my phone, it was 2:35 a.m. in the morning, and I walked to the balcony, and I literally hanging over the balcony, and I said I remember saying to myself, God, if you're real, you'll stop me from being splattered on that floor. And I let go, and all of a sudden when I let go, that free-falling feeling got jolted, and I got chucked over, thrown over the rail, and I remember getting punched right in my chest. Mm-hmm. And I realized it was my friend. He woke up, and he was on top of me, screaming at me, shouting like, what are you doing? Just swearing his head off at me. So you can imagine if anyone else kind of like, because he sleeps naked just with undies on, so you can imagine if anyone walked by, so seeing that, like a guy on top of another guy, it would have been something funny. But we both cried, and he knocked me out of my senses. So we went back downstairs, where our room changed from 14 to level 2. And I found out the next day. I was like, hey, like, I couldn't apologize enough to him. And I found out that the reason why he woke up so early is because he got food poisoning from the green chicken curry. True story.
Reminds me of that very old adage of the Lord works in mysterious ways. And you can look afterwards and say, well, A is led to B is led to C. If one wants to take an ethereal view, one can say, yeah, all of this does happen for a reason, and that reason is for you to be here and to have done and to do and to continue to do the work that you're doing, but bring to it that lived experience. And I'm not saying there might not be easier ways to go through life. I'm not saying that, but
absolutely.
But that experience that you have, that lived experience, is extraordinarily valuable, because you cannot. And I'm not saying this is what everybody should do, but lived experiences, we've all had them in different ways, and you can't get that from a book.
No, agreed. And I think that experience in itself, and like I said, to share, like we're obviously a very strong Christian-based faith, and it's like God had a purpose for me. I mean, come on, tried 9 times and I haven't succeeded all 9 times. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. There's got to be a reason why. And I still remember to this day, I remember just waking up one day and like this olive branch was struggling at a very intense point in the first couple of years, especially when COVID hit and then there was family disruptions and things like that. I just remember, you know, I remember through my faith, God saying to me, like, you went through what you went through because you would never have understood the Aboriginal culture, family, nation, if it wasn't through what you went through, because they go through this every single day. And if I look at that, my past tests obviously become testimonies, my past trials have become triumphs. So that's how I see it now. It's one of the craziest journeys that I've had and still having. And like I said before, like for me, Sister Jodie is such an inspiration for me as well.
That's insane. It's a crazy story.
Yeah.
And inspiring at the same time. And he's supposed to be here, Simon. Everything is exactly how it should be. But Jodie, you've got your own challenges, and you've had your own challenges in the past, and you've got your own story and of struggles and mental health struggles as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing some of that with us?
Well, I was in a bad relationship. I mean, in the Aboriginal community, you rarely find. I don't want to bad note anyone, but you rarely find someone who's, how do I explain it? So, someone who's not on drugs, not on alcohol.
Not suffering.
Yeah, not suffering from trauma. Yeah, in the Aboriginal community, there's hardly none. So, I was in a bad relationship for 6-7 years. And yeah, I wanted to commit suicide multiple times. Even when I was pregnant, I wanted to commit suicide. I even cut my wrists. I have the marks on my arm as well still. And it's just a reminder, and I hate it. I hate looking at it now. The marks. But yeah, I haven't, still to this day, I haven't recovered from any of from the trauma. I have not recovered, and I'm still thinking now today, when am I going to recover? And I'd have to say that Simon and Olive Branch, Simon has been he's been there for us. Even in our dark times, you know, he's just like, sis, if you feel like you're going to commit suicide, you better ring me. And so he's kind of given us all hope, our whole family. So our whole family, he's been there for us, and I don't know where I'd be if he wasn't there for us. So God bless. I just praise God for Simon. Like, he's just, done heaps.
We all need a Simon in our lives.
Yeah.
Everybody
Didn't expect that, actually. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So with coming back to Olive Branch, and you touched before upon different ways that success can be measured, and I shouldn't really presume, but I'm sensing that one of the ways you may measure your success is the lives that you touch and the lives that you potentially change, and the impact that you make. How have you managed to forge these relationships in, like, for example, you mentioned the Australian Arab business lead with Turkey.
Yeah.
How have you gone about forging those relationships, or have they come to you and seen what you're doing and said, look, can we get involved?
I think it's both measures. I think a lot of word of mouth have gone out there about Olive Branch, and obviously, like I said, the first couple of years was very tough because no one knew Olive Branch, so therefore they just thought we were just another mimic Aboriginal business trying to make a name for ourselves. And working backwards through that, we wanted to build a reputation of actually genuinely following through with our services. But at the time, we didn't really fulfill what our services were. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know what the story was. But one thing that we did know and what we did understand and what we wanted to do and achieve, and call it the mantra. It's a language that I recently learned. The mantra of Olive Branch was to really make these impacts, like I spoke to you about, eradicating and decreasing all those, I guess, issues and problems and concerns that are going within the community. And once we formulated a solution based on the 3 avenues of success, like I said, for the educational, employment, entrepreneurial gifts, and we presented that package program, or that program as a package, to some of our awesome partners like Brooks Hire, like Treasure, like Arab Chamber of Commerce, Wellness of Land and People, who was massive about it, and so many others as well that I'm just on the top of my head can't mention or forgot to mention. It was about the mantra of the story. It wasn't about how we want to make $1 million or whatever it may be, because we always believe that money will come as long as you do what is right and according to what needs to be done, solution-wise. So it was to, and because the stories, you can't make these stories up. And because we believe that it's authentic and it's genuine, and we have family members that are attending these meetings, we have family members that are attending these meetings, and the fact, I think the upper hand that we do get at the moment is that everyone is now slowly becoming to recognize the I don't want to say problems, because that just, it focuses too negative on it, but the sufferings is probably another good word that you use, sis. Sufferings that the Aboriginal community, country, nations are going through. Because they know some of it, what we've done is, if they put the foot in the door, all we've done is we've just opened the door more wider for them to come in and just sit with us and talk with us. So I think that's how it's come aboard. And once we started telling them that, these are the 3 ways of success, and we've started talking to them about language, not just in terms of what we speak, but in terms of the language that the Aboriginal people really want to showcase their ability, showcase their talents and gifts given throughout the intergenerational trauma, because that's real. Intergenerational trauma is very real. It's scientifically proven. It's very real. I think it was able to then go from mantra to manifestation, and it's still in a work in progress. Don't get me wrong. But I think that's how it all came about, because you share the same core values. Now, it's not to say that every person that comes forward, we just partner with them. We've turned away a lot of partners as well, because are you just using us just because we're an Aboriginal business? Or it was a genuine care and approach about our avenues of success, core values.
And that's really important, because nobody and no entity can be all things to all people.
Yeah.
And it is about selecting who or what may be the right fit, and where, yes, there's potential to go forwards, together. And that's never going to be with everybody who knocks on your door.
Mm-mm-mm. Absolutely.
Excellent. So, Jodie, how do you see, what's recovery look like for you?
Recovery looks like healing for my people, for the Aboriginal people. As to how we get there, I'm not sure. It's going to be a process. It's going to take time, but I think the main thing is just not giving up and just keep going and going and going until we get to where we need to be.
Absolutely.
Because the pain is still there. Like we was talking about with Simon, like the stolen generation. So my father-in-law, he went to the mission. My sister's partner's father went to the mission. It's people think that it's been a long time. It's not been a long time. It's been my children's grandfather, So, and they were suffering from the mission, They used to get bad things happen in the mission. Used to, like get flogged, get all those molestation and all of those stuff like that. So I don't have the answers, but all we can do is just look for the future, and that's why we have Olive Branch, because we want to build a better future for the next generation.
Wow. Well said.
Yeah.
And that really is critical. I was going to come to before that you mentioned about education and the employment and the entrepreneurship is about what can we change going forward. So the eye is on the future. I mean, no matter who we are, none of us can change the past. We might like to, and we can learn from it, but we can't change. But what we can change is the future.
Yeah.
So that focus is really, really important. So that really is excellent. So what are your sort of goals with Olive Branch over the next sort of 12 to 24 months or so?
If you want to speak about the family side first, and then I can go from the business side if you want.
Well, I suppose for the family side, we just want to be spokespeople for the Aboriginal community, and we want to encourage them to jump on board to build a better future, and to let them know that let the Aboriginal community know that there's more opportunities out there than just drugs and alcohol. Like us as a champion family, we love our people. We love the Aboriginal people, and we want a better future for all of us. Otherwise, do you know what? We're just, if we don't have more people like Simon, then the reality is we're just going to all pass away. There'll be no future if we didn't have more people like Simon who actually cares about us and about the Aboriginal people.
Understandable.
I think from an Olive Branch perspective, to jump on top of that and vice versa, knowing the understandings of what the family and the direction that the family have in clear vision, clear goals. I guess Olive Branch wants to aim, and we strive to be the first Aboriginal-owned or majority Aboriginal-owned mine site. We've got some great partners in the mining industry, like Gold Tiger's one of them. So Bradley Green and Andrew Hawker, they've been sharing this journey and story. So we've been with them for the last 7 years, and we've walked them through the journey within the Aboriginal community, within the Champion family as well. And they've witnessed side to side of the struggles that we go through. So Olive Branch's goal within the next 12 to 24 months is to become the first majority Aboriginal owned operating mine site. And on that same mine site, we're aiming to have the training mine site where we do challenge the status quo. The training mine site that was developed by Auntie Fiona Champion and Auntie Felicity Champion as well. And that way, we're not just here developing a mine site, but we're also qualifying, educating our next generation, because in that way we can showcase them that, like Sister Jodie said, drugs and alcohol is not a pathway. There's so many other more different pathways within Olive Branch or within this industries that you could learn from. So I know that for the rest of the family, like our chairman, James Champion, he always says it. He actually said it to me last time, or he actually said it to a mining company last time, where he said, it's not for me. It's not even for my kids. It's actually for their kids to come. And you can see that they're already looking at a bigger picture presentation for the next generation, because they know that the legacy right now, there's still things that we have to fix or, try to make better or do better with, so that therefore the harvesting will then happen, 2 generations, hopefully next. So that's Olive Branch's goal, and then to replicate that, to scale it all around Australia first. But the fact that we have recognition in the Middle East now, in Asia, and in America, North America as well, has been a very big blessing. So I guess the 24-month goal would be to at least see some sort of stepping stones that we can start scaling it on a wider presentation view.
And I mean, what you said there, which I think is so important, is showing that there is another way. It's being out in the community and your family and yourselves and people working with you, is showing yes, that's that's the way, and that's the way that people have gone there. But this is another way. Now, necessarily what you can't do is force everybody to do it, and people from any background can go down paths that probably not the right ones. But the other thing that you're doing, and I think, look, I'm not going to swear at this exactly verbatim, but I think it was Mahatma Gandhi who said, be the change you want to see in the world. So, I mean, here you are both, and obviously this includes your broader family, that are being the change and are showing and leading by example. And again, that doesn't mean that every single person will adopt that example, but at least they've been offered the choice.
Yeah.
They can see what you're doing, they can see what you're offering, and they can say, yes, I want to be part of this, maybe in my own way, not with, always with you, but I'll see that this is a way. And some won't, and you can't control for that. But what you're doing is leading from the front, and you should be very, very proud of what you're doing.
I think that's the inspirational part for the family, from my side, to looking at the family, like all the family members, like Uncle James, Auntie Nolene, Uncle Bruce, Auntie Fiona, Auntie Felicity, even Sister Jodie, like everyone, Sister Danielle. I can name every single name, brother Neil, brother Daniel. The list goes on. It's in the biblical terms of the world, it says the wise fall down 7, but they get up the 8th. So what it's saying is, if you don't get up the 8th, you're not wise. And the fact that the family can go through all the trauma and through the suffering, because I've witnessed sufferings. We only suffered 3 days ago. We keep seeing these sufferings, and the fact that they're able to just forgive and just move on and keep pressing on, keep fighting on, like that's saying something. Like that's showing character, but not only just character, but it's the willingness to say, hey, we're not that stigma that everyone thinks that we are. Yes, just like, and just like some terrorist groups, and I'm not saying, there are terrorist groups all around the world. It's not just based on a certain ethnicity. It's not all religion. It's just a small minority group, and it's the same within any culture. Like someone says to me, I remember a time when I was at Myers Carousel, and I told Sister Jodie this story this morning. I saw 2 young boys steal, and the lady was chasing him out, and she's like on the phone to security and say, 2 Aboriginal looking boys stole these a rail of clothes. And I was like, hey, well, hold on a second, you don't know if they're Aboriginal. And it's like, they looked it. And I'm like, looking and being is different. And not only that, if you're in a mode of panic where you're trying to, like, how can you say they were Aboriginal 100%? Well, it's very common. Well, that's not an answer. That's an assumption. So I guess that's the changes that, to answer your question again on the 12 to 24 months, we want to reduce those discrimination, but we don't know. Obviously, it's going to be measurable, but I mean, the change that we can see and do see is that, if you think of us this way, well, watch this platform, watch the difference that we're going to make within the community.
Excellent. Simon, what are some of the exciting things that you're working on in 2024?
We're in the very close process of actually starting and opening up one of our gold mines in the Goldfield region. I can't really mention where, because just for privacy purposes for now.
Commercial confidentiality. Yeah. That's fine.
So gold and so obviously iron ore and copper mines as well, but Olive Branch is also in the process of becoming a mining service contractor as well. Yes, there are great Aboriginal businesses out there that are aiming strong for that, but we too want to start competing with the big boys as well. So they're the probably 2 major projects that Olive Branch is looking forward to, and owning and operating a mine site, and obviously a mining service contracting. So literally from a comprehensive package from beginning to end, not only do we own the mine site, but we're actually going to work on it, rehabilitate it the way we want to as well.
Excellent. And what about in the mental health and well-being space?
Yeah, I mean,
what's on the cards for 2024?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, if I can add this one, sis. So this is where we've been working with the Wellness of Land and People, who have been absolutely phenomenal, fantastic. Shout out to Auntie Elaine, Uncle Paul. We're in the process of developing a package to present in front of investors or funders, whatever you want to call it, on an international level in America, in Asia as well, where the solutions, so working backwards from the mental health side is to give purpose and hope back into the community. And that's to not only just rehabilitate the land and bring back the land, but it's also to rehabilitate the nation and the country of the Aboriginal nation and culture and country. So that is to open up the pathways for the education pathways where we're finding different curriculums or partners to see how we can develop a program that is based on a program that the Aboriginal people want to see, not what they're forced to see. The employment pathways is not just hiring one Aboriginal person just because it's a tick box exercise. We want to make sure there's no isolation. And we want to see an Aboriginal business where it's supplied by other Aboriginal businesses, because now we're creating continuity, but not only that, self-sufficiency where they're able to, lead by example. But anything else from
Jodie, how are you involved in all of that as well for 2024? So,
Well, hopefully I'll be a leader of those programs, and then
developing in-house,
doing outreach. I would like to go out to the communities, the remote communities, and start to promote our olive branch and give them opportunities. Say, hey, come and jump on board and join us, and
through all the opportunities that you create.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a good wrap for today's session.
And how can people find or get in touch with yourselves and Olive Branch?
Definitely. The main one is to go through the Olive Branch Enterprise website is one direction. It's got all our contact details there. You can also search up our partners.
olivebrancheNterprise.com.au.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get Ben to put that up on the screen.
Yep. Obviously, you can search us up through our partners by clicking on the different links on that website too. Shout out to Brooks High because they're doing a huge event. There is a huge event coming up in April this year. We're doing an appreciation dinner for all of our clients and partners. And Brooks High has been the major platinum sponsor for that. We're inviting, and you guys can come too, or your listeners if they want to.
I'd love to.
Yeah, no, it would be a massive event because it's obviously it's to reinvent, reignite, and reintroduce the Aboriginal culture. So it'd be Aboriginal themed. Red carpet event as well. So in that way, you guys can see the true welcome to country, acknowledgement to country, the corroboree dance, or and speeches from the elders as well. But it's more about, there's so much negativity around the whole Aboriginal relationship with Australia and the government and the mining companies, but we just want to show a different face to it. So that's how you can reach out to us. It's come join these events and search us up, because that's what we'll be posting about.
I'll be there.
Brilliant. Sounds good. That'll be in Perth, in Kalgoorlie?
No, definitely in Perth.
Yeah. And people will be able to find out information about that on the website?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Sooner or later, you'll be able to see it as well.
Good.
Here it is. There you go.
We partner with.
Yep.
All
right, Joe,
Simon,
is there anything else that you...
I was just going to thank Simon and Jodie so much for their time and coming in today and sharing sharing your stories and Olive Branch and your future directions. And look, credit to yourselves and your whole team and your whole family.
Absolutely.
No, we appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
You go first, sis.
Thank you for having us. And so we can get it out there, get Olive Branch, our vision out there, reach more people. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
She said it best. I'll leave it at that. She said it best. Perfect.
All right, excellent.